So my name's Sam DeMaio. I work for Jen DeMaio right over there. She owns Showcase Remodels. She also owns Moda Women's Boutique, so it's probably good that you came. She's got a lot of Phillies gear, Eagles gears right in Haddonfield, so it's a good stop for her. She does a lot of stuff with design. She don't dress me. She does dress me because I wear a t-shirt and a Showcase t-shirt and shorts. So I guess a lot of stuff is talking about growing your business and or starting your business, that level, because there's different levels of business and scaling businesses and using marketing ways to do it from nothing and from something as you start to grow. So I guess I'll go with my backstory. 17 years old, junior year of high school, I joined the Army. So my junior year high school, shipped right to boot camp, Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was there the whole summer. Learned a lot. Didn't realize the things I learned then. I actually just started implementing about 3 years ago. And some of those things are SOPs, which are standard operating procedures. And we've taken that to the next level. I'll get into that in a little bit. But some of the things I did in my past, I started going, wow, now it's really coming ahead on why I'm using the things I'm using, and they're actually working. From there, 19 years old, straight to Camden County Jail. I was there for 5 years. I wasn't in there like Frank. I was a correctional officer. But it was almost like I was, because I was a young kid. And back then there was like no cameras, so like I used to be pretty good at wrestling. And those were kids too, like they're big adult kids. So we used to have a lot of fun in the jail. So they loved me. Like literally, I bought a couple houses in Camden, and literally, I still knew the guys. They all have respect for me. I have respect for them. That's what it's all about. No matter you're in jail, you're out of jail, life, customers, all that stuff, all has to do with respect, right? From there, I was a Gloucester Township cop, but I had already bought my first house. So 19 years old, I bought a duplex. My mortgage was $850. I rented my one side out for $750. I lived for $100 a month. So as I started to continue, I bought my second one. I bought it for $35,000. It's in La Cascada. I'd rent it out for, I believe, like $850 then. It's now $1,700 now. That's where we'll get to talk about real estate in a little bit, rentals and flips. I then bought two more of those. Then I bought my first house. So those houses were paid for by my rental. So what I would do is, as I made $1,600, now I can get a $1,600 mortgage, right? Started building those up. 10 years in, the police, I already had my little Showcase flooring business going. That's what I started. I'm now Showcase Remodels, but it was Showcase Flooring. I actually loved doing it. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Again, setting up systems, kind of like the military. And how I did those systems were kind of like roofing, right? You got your shingles, you got your what's the underlayment, you got your synthetic underlayment, all that stuff. You might almost make a list up. So for me, it was flooring. So the flooring would be remove carpet, this many square feet times this amount. Remove trim, this many linear feet, this amount. Add trim, this many linear feet, this amount. This is what it cost me. This is what I charge. So knowing your numbers in any kind of business is the key to being successful anyway. And then, does anyone know what the rule number one is for being in business? Like, what's the one thing you got to make sure you do? Make money. And stay in business, right? So the best thing about being in business is staying in business, right? Because a lot of people go out, but the first thing they do is they take a loan out. They get a truck, they get the shirts, they get all these things. All of a sudden, they have no work. So yeah, you have a brand, but you have no business and you have no money. So kind of starting off lean is where it's at, and that's what I did. I kind of did everything. Like I bought business cards, probably cost me $50. I'd go to Home Depot. I don't know if this is legal or not, so maybe you should turn that off. I put in my business card in the tile boxes, like literally a box of tile, business card. People go home, hey, can you come over and give me a price? My husband's going to do the tile, but it's been sitting here for 6 months. Sure, no problem. Go over there, bam. You know what I mean? Anything I can do for free, that's what I did. Networking groups, go out and literally like a B&I or even like something's perfect. People that want to do good together, it's always going to be positivity. That's what it's going to be. So I would do that. And then building that reputation up. And then at a certain point, I started doing, I guess it's called Home Advisor Angie's now. Back in the day, it was called Service Magic. I'd have two phones. But what I would do is literally the lead would come in on one phone, I'd call on the other phone. And I would be there. She would tell you, I literally would be there within 15 minutes. So if they called me right now, I'm not coming tomorrow. I already have the job tonight. So I would go there, sell that job tonight, and we'd be ready to go. And I'd get 3 or 4 jobs a day. Now, again, I was still learning my numbers. So I was definitely the cheapest by far, but I got every single job. Then I learned, okay, now I started to have customers. And then those customers, over the years, they started to have kids. And then now the kids call. And then all of a sudden I have this referral base of customers that call me every single day, 5 or 6 leads a day. And it's not like a lead that you're paying for where there's 3 other guys or 4 other, it's like, hey, come out, I'm gonna use you. You know what I mean? You kind of start to pre-screen everybody to use you. And then you get into a system where, hey, now I have sales guys, and now I'm trying to get to that next level, which is, hey, now I'm gonna start to buy leads for a certain individual division, whether it be roofing or in this case, bathrooms, not just do everything. So when we do everything, we do well. It's just a lot going on, and it's hard to maintain. But when you kind of specialize in on something, that's when you can really start to make some money, start doing those things over and over. So repetition's your reputation, right? You start doing it over and over, like going to the gym, you big like him, like keep on doing it, that's what you want to do. And then same thing with business. You start doing things over and over, you start to get those things where it's profitable. Now, the other thing is this. So when I got divorced, my first marriage, I lost everything. So moved in with mom, I had everything going. It was cool, I was a cop. Everything wasn't working out so well. I had my little business going. I was making okay. I decided, okay, I'm gonna leave the police department altogether. I'm out. And I was 10 years in. So I'm like, okay, I was back against the wall. What am I gonna do? It's either sink or swim. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna swim every single time. This dude, you'll never catch me sinking. Never, never, ever. So what I did is, again, I started working, day and night. Didn't talk to anybody. I had no friends. Literally, it was just, me living at my mom's house. My mom's like an old school Italian lady, and doing my wash. It was easy to go to work, right? And I kind of did that for a while, and then we moved into my 2-bedroom with, I had 3 kids, and she came with 1, so we had 4 kids in a 2-bedroom duplex that I bought when I was 19. Here I am at 29. So starting over again. So I had nothing. So what I did is I went out and I bought a minivan. Cost me $2,200. I threw my carpet samples in there. I did like a good, better, best program. Threw my little roofing samples in there. Kind of drove around. And Lee would come in, go there, sell it. I had 1 installer. It was my assistant. He was my helper. He became an installer after 10 years, and kind of rolled with that. About, I would say maybe 6 months in, realtor called me up. Lady, I know you know her. I still deal with her today. She's one of those ladies that pretty much is like, hey, if you come tonight, you can get this deal. I'm like, okay, I'll come tonight, but I don't believe you, whatever. So I go there, and it was in Glendora, Glendora, New Jersey. The lady's like, I need $50,000 for the house. I said, I don't have 50, I only have 30. So I offered her 30. We agreed to 32. So a month later, I bought that house for $32,000. It's all the cash I had. And I'm like, shoot, what am I gonna do to fix it up? So what I did is, bought the house. It was in pretty good shape, but she was a hoarder. Toilet didn't work, and she was basically diapers this high. And poop marks with her hand on the side, getting up the toilet every single time. So it was disgusting, but it was okay. And we were living in Jarvis, so I started fixing it up every weekend. Whatever I had left from the work week, whatever I collected, I would go to Home Depot, buy some stuff, go do some work. Next weekend, buy some stuff, do some work. 6 months later, this little 2-bedroom house, I sold it for $129,000. Now I have money. So I met her, another realtor who I did business years before. His name's John Schwartz. Unfortunately, he passed away about a month ago or so. Great realtor, did pretty much all the foreclosures around our area. He calls me up, says, I have this house, Charter Oak Road in Blackwood, 62 grand, drive there. I said, yep, I want it. Bought it for 62 grand, put 30 into it. Sold it for 180 in a month. I said, this is money. I'm still doing my flooring, which is pretty cool. Next month, bought another one. Did the same thing, bought it for 70, put 30 into it, sold it for 170. Next month, same thing. Did that 17 times that year. Each one, I made about 70 grand. Now all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is way better than working for these customers, but it's not every day I'm gonna have these things. That's what I thought. So what I would do is, I didn't need the money. I literally lived off of my duplex that I had since I was 19 years old, and now I'm 33 years old. I basically took that money and I started buying investment properties. So I bought 10 of them in one place called La Cascada. Bought it for about between 30 and 35,000. I put about 15,000 in them, completely remodeled, 15,000. Now this is back, 10 years ago or so, maybe 15. Probably closer to 15. Yeah. And now they're selling for $225,000. So I bought them all cash, and pretty much rent them out, and the properties increase. So my suggestion to you, I don't care what you do as far as your business to make money, you always have to put your money into investment properties. Those properties will double, triple, all that stuff. And then in addition to that, that next year I think we did 72 properties, which is just the one realtor. I was buying a house every week, literally buying a house, and we were doing the same kind of numbers. Now this is before everyone started flooding the market. This is before COVID. So we did this for a long time. I built up a lot of properties. I probably had 1.48 properties that we owned free and clear. Mortgages only a couple down the shore. Now the first one, so again, I was cheap. So to buy something that was $460,000, I was like, absolutely not. She wanted to buy a shore house. I said, I don't want to buy a shore house. She's like, why? We'll save money on the rent. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. You say save money, I'm in. So we bought our first property on 18th Street, North Wildwood. I bought it for $460. The rent was $3,500 a week. We rented out. We took for ourselves. Was it Memorial Day, Labor Day, and then the 4th of July. So I saved like about $7,000, and I made $10,000 on the house. So that was a $17,000 swing. So what I did there is 2 years later, I bought another one with Thunderbird. I bought that for $500 with foreclosure. I started learning. That was a time where I learned that if you're not the realtor of the house, you're not getting the house. Because my one friend Omar, the whole week we were there, I was like, hey, get me in this house, get me in this house. He's calling the realtor, calling the realtor, calling the realtor. Finally on Saturday, I texted the realtor. I said, hey, I got cash. I would like to buy the house. He says, I'll see you in 15 minutes. I said, that guy tried for a week. I got it in 2 seconds. Drive over there, deposit down, done, buy it for $500. Now, luckily for me, I'm pretty smart. She's not so smart. So I'm just kidding. See, it's totally the other way. Totally the other way. I didn't want to do the short at all. Those houses now are worth $900,000 and $1.2 million. And then from there, I started building relationships down the shore. So down the shore, I hooked up with another realtor, Brian Reed, great guy, great person. I went down the shore. There was like a fourplex I really wanted. It was on 26th Street. And she sent me down there. She's like, all right, cool, we'll see the houses. So I see 26th Street, I want the house. See another house, not so much. We go to the third house, I walk in, and I go, oh shit, you guys tricked me. It was literally right on the ocean. So instead of getting my house, we got the one that she wanted. However, we got it for a great price, and it was right before COVID, or right during COVID, right when it first started. So we got it like super cheap. Yeah, so everyone got scared. So when everyone got scared, all of a sudden the prices start dropping on the houses crazy. And then all of a sudden they shot back up. So another thing I'll tell you in business or life or anything, when everyone's scared, that's when you make the jump. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, don't listen to what anyone else is doing. I go the other way. So if everyone's doing this, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? That's just how it's going to work. And I feel like that got me places where I didn't go, as far as like pretty much networking and then building my business up and getting lucky and just having fun. Because another thing is when put yourself out there, like you guys are here now, you'll meet somebody, all of a sudden in a week, a year, whatever, you need something, all of a sudden that person's still there for you, and now you have a connection. Those things are priceless. So like with the Eagles, every day, he's probably on there now. Vinny Curry calls me every single day from the Eagles. Dude's an awesome guy. I met him after the game, and the whole reason I went to the Eagles, obviously John Schwartz again, my realtor, bless him in heaven. He's like, hey, I want to get these tickets. They're $17,000 for 2 tickets for the season. You're 17, I'm 17. I said, hell no, I ain't doing that. I said, I don't even want to go. I don't even like watching them. She's a big fan. She's like, we have to get the tickets. I said, let's get the tickets. He said, you'll meet the players. I'm like, okay, we'll meet the players. He's been there for 3 years. He hadn't met the players. There's no way I'm meeting the player. I don't even know him. So sure enough, Monday night game. It's the only game she didn't go to. I might have been a little drunk, a little bit, maybe a lot of bit, because the seats are awesome. You get free drinks, all that fun stuff. Outside, I thought I could take this guy. He's pretty big. Happened to be an Eagles player. It was Vinny Curry. I got his phone number. So came home about 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. She's like, who's this 215 number? I'm like, I have no idea. So I passed out. I must have told her it was Vinny Curry that night. When I woke up, she asked me the 215 number. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't remember. She's like, you said it was Vinny Curry. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. So I'm like, let me call him. I'm like, oh, shit. So I call. It was Vinny, and I started talking to him. And here I did his friend's basement. So the guy he was with knew me. He's like, oh, you did his basement. It was crazy. It was awesome. All decked out. And I ended up picking him up from NovaCare the next week. So I picked him up, brought him back to his house, did his first bathroom. From there, I ended up redoing his whole entire house. From there, he hooked me up with a guy. The first time he called me, I thought he wanted to work for me. So the guy calls me up. He's like, hey, how you doing, Sam? He's like, I need some work. I said, okay, what kind of work you do? I'm thinking, he wants to work for me. He goes, like plumbing, I said, oh, where do you work at now? He's like, oh, I work at the stadium. I'm like, what's your name, Dom? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, Dom who? He's like, DeSandra. I'm like, all right, well, maybe come in, you can fill an application. He's like, no, I won't work at my house. I said, your house? I said, what do you do? You're not a plumber? He goes, no, I want work done at my house. So here I thought he wanted to work for me. It's Big Dom DeSandra. Again, I don't know any of the players. So I ended up driving to his house. And when I went to his house, I ended up, I did the house maybe 20 years before for a guy. And I remember the guy because the house was unbelievable. It was down the shore. So when I knocked on the door, I talked to him. I said, yeah, I did this house. And he was like, yeah, okay. He just met me. I said, no, I really did. I did it when I was like 20 years old, 22. Did it myself. I said, you have Brazilian cherry in your office. You have inlays with the roses in your foyer. I said, my painter painted all the columns. They look like a stone, almost like a marble. He goes, yeah. So from there, I became really close with him. I did all his houses. I get to go to all the fun games, and we're going to Dallas tomorrow. We flew to New Orleans a couple weeks ago. What other game? A couple other games. Tampa, went to Tampa game, and got to eat with the Eagles in Tampa before the game, which was pretty cool. And then who else we do? I did Fletcher. So Fletcher's, we became pretty close with Fletcher too. He's a trip. He's a super nice guy, but he will beat you up. That's the one guy. He definitely he could be mean. But he's awesome. And then he ended up taking us to get to stay at Jeffrey Lurie's house, Turks and Caicos. Yeah, Turks and Caicos for a little bit. It was a lot of fun. We stayed there for like 5 days or whatever. And that was like next level money. And then what real next level money was the guy that owns First Trust Bank. That guy has the whole top floor. Like Jeffrey Lurie's house is nice, 5 bedrooms. The guy's name's Rich something. I can't remember. But he's got the whole floor. So it was unbelievable. But doing those guys, it's great connections. I did a lot of coaches. I did a lot of the players now. I get to hang out with some of the players. And then we continue to do that every time. So it's not even like we're stopping there. But then I never give up. So, and Jen will tell you, like literally, I just keep going. So once I started seeing that the business is working, we have our checklist. Like literally, I gave you that 42-point checklist. I'll have a checklist for pretty much everything. So kitchens, I'll have like a checklist, like an 18-point checklist. Bathrooms, I have 11-point checklist. Whole house remodels, like when you're doing the flip. If you guys need it, just hit me up. I'll send it right to you. Those checklists are like key because if you follow that checklist in order, you're gonna get the job done efficiently. And then when you have I'm kind of old school with the boards. Everyone makes fun of me, even though we have Builder Trend and all those cool Trello programs. I have everything. Even a private label one we did, like a Go High Level with the automations where people call in, shoots the automations, all that stuff. I'm still like, let me get a board. You know what I mean? The board will have everything on it, and then literally I can see as soon as I look at the board, if I have 12 houses I'm flipping, I know exactly where each one's at. I know the drywall guy needs to go next. I know where the roofer needs to go next. I know where the siding needs to go next, and you kind of keep the flow going. And I always tell the girls in the office that are going through the builder trend, hey, be 3 steps ahead. So whatever you're doing right now, look at the job, what are the next 3 steps, right? If you're doing roof, then siding, make sure you do the windows obviously first and work your way around. So for business that way, I think that is kind of where we build up our business at regular showcase. But I decided 2 years ago, I seen another guy, he was doing 500 bathrooms a month, not a year, a month, just a shower area. His name is Brian Gottlieb. He's one of my Facebook friends. He's a really nice guy. He had posted something on Facebook, like in a contractors thing, and some guy's like, "Yeah, right, you never did this," blah, blah, blah. And I wrote back, "Hey, why do you have to be negative? There's no reason to be negative. The guy's giving you advice, and you're telling him no." And then he wrote me back, "Hey, it was really cool of you to do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't appreciate negativity anywhere. There's no reason for that." So ended up becoming friends with him, and he really did. He was doing 500 bathrooms a month, sold that business for $100 million. So from there, once he sold that, it was Wisconsin. It's called Tundraland. He moved out to Arizona. He had like a non-compete. That was outside of that. He started another company. Jacuzzi was the brand of material for that. 2 years, built that up, sold that back to Jacuzzi, to their corporate headquarters, for $10 million. From there, he opened up an Anderson Renewals, like a window company, and I believe they charge, I don't know, $2,000 a hole, $3,000 a hole, so $3,000 a window, some really good numbers. And then he sold that company to the employees. So, and now he just does, pretty much helps people out, which is pretty awesome. So to get into, I guess, the other part, so sales, right? When you're genuine, you do good work, you mean well, and you kind of consistently do that throughout, you're going to always excel past all these other people that are just doing all these crazy marketing things, building these crazy systems up, and make a lot more money. Not to mention, you're just a good person. So another guy in here, Travis, we had a good talk about that, which I'm not going to really bring up, but I can tell you there's people out there that do good by people, and there's people out there that do bad by people. Always do the good, because it'll always come back tenfold. You know what I mean? Even if you don't make no money, it's something, you messed up, whatever, you just take care of it. Don't cut the corner. There's no reason to cut the corner. Especially contractors. They get the worst name for cutting corners, leaving, not coming back. Communication is the most important thing. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I can mess up, and we do. I mess up. But if I say, "Hey, look, I messed up, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I tear that out, put that back in, and make sure that it's right before I leave out of here," that's the best you can do. And if that person doesn't like it, they're an asshole. You know what I mean? They're an asshole. They're not my customer anyway. I want the guy to go, "I appreciate that. That's all I need to hear. I'm done. We're done. Cool. Thank you." That's it. But again, so, in my head, I'm thinking I need to do this jacuzzi thing. So start looking at these jacuzzi things. I start doing my research. I used to be a cop, so I could research anything, right? And just like houses. Like there's a fire, me, I'm looking up the name. I got to find the phone number. I'm trying to buy the house. You know what I mean? That was like our little side little thing. Hey, you want to just move? Take the insurance money, and I buy the house, and we're done. Everything's done. You're happy. I'm happy. You got a new house. You have to wait for somebody to rebuild it. It's already done. Just little things like that for you guys is even good for what you're doing. But getting back to what I'm saying, I started building this thing, and I brought the product home. I flew out all across the country. I went to Chicago. I went to a couple other, all out there, all more like Midwestern people. I bring the stuff back. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this." He goes, "Oh, it's ugly." So what do you mean it's ugly? This stuff doesn't crack, doesn't chip, easily clean, right? Oh yeah, I try to sell it. So, we do a lot of nice stuff. So I'm like, man, I gotta go back to the drawing board. It is kind of ugly. So, I ended up flying out to Chicago. You came with me. They put us up in this really nice hotel in the middle of nowhere, and then they were very nice to us. The product that we have now is far superior than any kind of jacuzzi product. Any of these other like local that do like the one-day bathroom, I feel like ours is the best by far. We started to build that team up. I started to build the presentation up. It did take me like over a year before I even decided, hey, this is the product I want. But again, I wanted to make sure that it is what it is before I put it out there. And again, it's a work in progress because you never know when you're jumping into something, how much stuff's involved with it. And I seen their big numbers, and I kind of got attracted to those big numbers, not knowing that their other numbers are so big that they don't really make all that much money. So if they say I do, 100 million, they're making not much money at all. You know what I mean? Sounds nice until you start to see their other costs that are involved with it. It's not so nice. But February 1st, we kind of launched it officially. It was fun. It's been fun. Got to a point where, I was comfortable. Started building it up, tried to hire outside people and outside of our little culture. Didn't work out. Met a guy in Wildwood, super cool. I asked him about him. Tim's like, hey, good dude, and he's sitting in the back. His name's Mike Murphy. He is the man. So every day, me and him abuse each other, all nonstop. I'm sure his soon-to-be wife is like, what are you guys doing? It's 10 o'clock. We're like, yeah, look at this. So we kind of built that crazy relationship. Jen already knows how I am. And she's like, why do you want to do it? Why do you want to do it? Well, I never want to be the guy at the top looking down. I wasn't going to be the guy climbing that hill. You know what I mean? Once you get stagnant, that's when you start to lose. So I never want to lose, so I kind of keep going. And that's that part of it. But again, I really feel like having the right people around you, doing right by people, and building your name and your brand up is what's key to being successful in that part. What's up there?
For the SOPs,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of these companies are small.
Yep.
So, they're not at that point where they have to scale and have
Sure.
an SOP.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like an abbreviated version, or what's the inflection point when you know, shit,
Okay.
I need SOP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing out some questions.
Okay. So I feel like, $1 million in revenue and under, it's just you, right? It's just you. You're the guy who's working. You might have a couple subcontractors, whatever. SOPs are good because once you start to grow, you'll be able to use those and train people. However, do you need them right away? No. Just starting out, if you're just starting your business, I don't think I'd even get insurance right now. You know what I mean? I know you can't even say that, right? I'll probably get in trouble. But why? Why? I know it's horrible to say, but guess what? You need every penny you can, right? You're trying to make a buck to pay your car payment or your house, pay for your family. So for me, hey, start doing it, right? Start making some money, then get insurance. Do a couple jobs. Don't go out there and buy the truck, buy the shirts, buy the carts. No, you have these things. I'm like, I get no money for marketing. I have no money for tools, right? I've seen guys, and I've seen them do it. They literally go out there, and the first thing they do is they start buying that big, brand new, beautiful truck. That's the last thing you buy. That's the last thing you buy.
Should they get an LLC at least to protect them initially?
I mean, listen, I finally got LLCs like 8 years ago. I'm like, do I have to get, because I'm cheap. Remember, I'm Italian. Italians are cheap, right? So, and they can talk about anything. So, selectively cheap. But yeah, I think, just starting off, make some money. Once you start making money, then go, what's my next 3 steps, right? I always say 3, only because, owning a business, there's so many steps in it. If you try and go, oh my God, I do all these things perfect, you never even start. And if you never start, you never make money. So you got to start somewhere. So start making money. Everything you do in the beginning needs to be evolved around making money. The SOPs, for me, it depends on what kind of business you have. Roofing, again, that's an easy one for me to relate to you. You would write down everything that you do in a roof, right? It would be shingles, starter strip, underlayment, nails, so many nails per roof. So I don't know, was it 15 square or whatever is a box of nails or something like that. You know what I mean? And literally have a system where that. So and then when you do like Eagle View is they use it for measurement, right? For roofing. You take that Eagle View, you be able to develop your own order list, and then take that order list, and then you got to know your numbers. So then you go to your suppliers, and you say, hey, do me a favor. Give me a price for this roof here. And you do it to all your suppliers. Then once you're done that, you get your lowest one, and you go, hey, Frank, listen, I think you're the cheapest, but you weren't. I said, you got to beat this one. Then Frank gives you his number. You take it back to Billy. Hey, Billy, Frank just gave me this number. You know what I mean? He just gave me this number. I can't believe I thought you were the guy. Then he beats out and said, hey, Frank, listen, I do. I go, hey, Billy just beat you. I think we're done, bro. No, hold on a sec. Gave you the best number. Okay, cool. Lock me in for a year. Let's do that for a year. I'm going to do this much business. Lock me in for a year. We're locked in. That's my number. Now, every time I do a roof, I do a PO, purchase order. I take those numbers. I plug them in. I go to Billy. Hey, Billy, here it is. We already know our numbers. For percentages, I used to do 30%. Hooked up with a couple other guys, the 50% profit margin. That's kind of where some of the companies are at right now. It's kind of easy, but kind of hard, but you got to know your numbers. You got to know what your marketing costs are, whether they be 10%, which I just learned that. I almost wanted to have a heart attack when I learned that, because before that was nothing. For 15 years, it was not nothing. It was me talking. You know what I mean? Me talking to people and just getting out there and networking. That was my set of money. It was just my time, right? And then I feel like a couple other things is social media is unbelievable. You don't even have to be smart. Take me for instance. I literally just go out and talk about whatever, and then the jobs that we have and the guys that we do, like real life stuff, and people like that. I feel like they get a good feel on who I am and who our company is and what our people do and what we like to do. So it's almost like you're rounding yourself for the ideal customer, and the customer that likes you and you like them. Because again, in the beginning, I would take abuse from some of these customers. They're just horrible people. They're just looking to take advantage. I hate to say it, take advantage. It's a very small percentage. We call them red flaggers. I become a very expert professional at finding red flaggers, and I'll tell them right away, excuse me, I let you know right now, you're not for me, I'm not for you. I appreciate your time, and I gotta go. And they can't believe it. And I don't care if you make $100, an hour or $5 an hour. Those $100 an hour guys, they could be jerk offs just as much as the guys that are $5 an hour. So it doesn't really matter. So there's really no threshold. It's just you have to start to figure out who's for you and who isn't. And the quicker you find that out, you start to spend more time on the people who actually care about you and your company versus the people that don't. And then once you start doing that, you find the better customers making the more money, and they want you to do well. And that's what you want. You want everyone to do well. Everyone that's around you, you want them to do well, because if they're doing well, they're going to say, you know what, let's go with these guys. For work, literally, in the beginning, I couldn't get anyone to work. I had one guy. Now, every day, somebody's coming in to apply. It's every day. People are texting me, hey, my daughter needs a job, and my son needs a job, and they're just trying to kick them to me. But now the labor force isn't so tough. I mean, if you see some of the kids that come in, they don't want to tie their shoes, their pants are down. It's just not a good thing. And you want to be able to breathe someone into your culture to be able to succeed. And that's where it's kind of important to make sure you have the right people. But getting back to your SOPs, see how I can go off, ADHD? SOPs, I really feel like in the beginning, writing everything down, make sure you have like little checklists for everything. Like I said, flooring or whatever you do. It don't have to be, it could be any business really. You take what you're buying, what you're purchasing, whether it be, say you're buying this hat. You're buying that Pace roofing hat, which I think I've seen this logo down the shore, Wildwood. I did. Yeah, it's at my house right there. Are you really? Yeah. Oh yeah, we definitely got to hook up. Yeah. So Pace Roofing, see that Pace Roofing? He's in Township. You take that hat, right? You buy it for $2, you're going to sell it for 10, right? What's involved with it? Well, you got insurance, right? You got taxes. You got all these other fun stuff. You got a salesman, you're paying 10%. Whatever it may be, you got to be able to calculate all that when you come up with your number on the out. This way you can stay in business, right? I think it's important too to go over, how you're going to do everything. So it all starts with obviously the lead, right? So marketing, when you're spending your marketing, where do you put your dollars? And when I did the bathroom business, I'm like, okay, I really want to focus on the shower area. It's very hard to do just one thing, especially when you're used to doing everything inside the house except for cut grass. Because people are like, oh, what do you do? I said, everything except for cut grass. That would be my thing. And I said it jokingly, but I'm dead serious. Like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I do everything except for cut your grass. And, I feel like, using things that other people aren't doing is things that are working for me. So the first thing I did when I was younger, other than Service Magic, is it's called Today's Shopper. It's kind of like the Clipper magazine. And it goes out to 83,000 people. And it goes out every 2 weeks, and it's local. So it goes out to like Williamstown, Washington Township, Blackwood, all of our little area. And then we started a little social media thing with it. I forgot to tell you. The guy, Gary, he's the owner. He's been there for 30 years. When I first started, it was like $30, right? For a little service ad. That's what I did when I was 15 years ago, when I first got started. He came in, he's like, I've been following you. I see all your trucks in town now. He's like, I didn't realize you're this close. You want to advertise? I said, I do. I want to advertise these bathrooms. I started showing him. He goes, well, I need one of those. I said, well, let's work a deal out. Of course, I'm Italian, right? We work a deal out. So I ended up talking to him for a little bit and did it for a couple months, and we really hit it off. So I'm like, oh, that's a win for me. Is it the lead flow I need? No. But am I getting my return on investment? Yeah, I'm blowing away. I'm doing what I normally did, right? So then I started another one. Hold on, let me back up. So 6 months down the line, Gary comes in. He goes, yeah, I'm getting, not feeling well, and I'm getting into retirement age. I'm like, oh God, what's he going to say? He goes, I think I want to sell my business. He's like, and I really respected you. I remember you when you had nothing. You had that minivan you drive around. Everyone knows me by the minivan I used to drive around. And he goes, would you be interested in buying it? Well, Me, I'm not that smart with the number. He had the numbers. I said, hold on, I got the guy. He's like really smart. So I sent it to my accountant, Keith. I said, Keith, here you go. I said, look this over, because any kind of business deal I go in before I buy, I just send it to him. He's like a brainiac, and it looks it all over. So he goes, hey, if you don't buy this thing, I'll buy it. So I said, why don't we just buy it together? And bam, here we are. Now I got to advertise in a marketing company, right? This way I can kind of offset what I'm doing, learn where I'm going, because I'm already trying to do it. I'm seeing what other people are doing. I'm seeing their returns. I know I could do better than that. In my head, I think that. You know what I mean? And what you think is what happens. That's your mindset. So if you think, hey, I'm going to do this, it's going to happen. If you think, hey, I'm not going to do this, that's also going to happen. And that's what I see too at work. I see you guys say, I can't do this. I go, can't do it, no problem. I let them go on, and I'll go, okay, cool, here's it getting done. Here's it getting done. And that's what I do every single week. She thinks I'm a little tough on them, but again, Army. I feel like I'm a drill sergeant sometimes. My brother worked for me for 3 weeks. I became a drill sergeant again. He literally got divorced. I moved in, he lived in my basement. And I'm like, hey, you're gonna get up early, you're gonna get the guys going, blah, 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 blah. Here's me. I'm getting up early to wake him up, screaming at him, and then trying to go back to bed, and I'm already worked up, so I can't. So I'm like, dude, you gotta go. You're done. I said, you can stay here, but you gotta go. And he's just, I love him. I love him to death. I just finally got him back in the gym after, me just ragging on. So he came the other day, and he's hilarious. So if you know him, he's on the treadmill. And I never even knew there was a fucking fan on the treadmill. I said, what the fuck are you doing? You better turn that off right now. He's like, no, it's better. I said, no, it ain't. I slap him. And people in the gym are looking. So we're pushing the thing, so he turns it off. And then we get halfway through, I think we did like biceps. We did biceps. I'm like, all right, we're done this. He's like, oh, great. I was like, now we're going to triceps. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? I said, no, we're going to do triceps. When we do triceps, I'm like, all right, we're really done. He's like, we're done everything? He's like, thank God. I said, cool. So, like, this guy's so funny. So I call him again in the morning. He's a night guy. Call him the next morning. He goes, I ain't going to be able to make it. So why? He goes, my arms are so sore. I said, that's great because we're doing legs today. He's like, oh, shit. So came in. I was super happy for him. And today, he wanted to work for me again. I said, absolutely not. I said, you want to be an installer? I'll teach you to be an installer. He goes, now I want to be a warehouse manager. I said, we don't have one of those. I said, what are you going to do? We're not that big where I need a warehouse manager. We're really small. So I said, listen, no, absolutely not. So he got a job. He started today. Hopefully he did good. Told him he better go to the gym. As soon as I leave here, I'll be texting him, make sure he goes to the gym. But getting off the track, marketing, the next thing is sales. Sales, we talked about it. Come up with a system, know your numbers, go out there. I try and do a one-call close on everything I do. When I'm out there, I give them the numbers. Is there anyone that does kitchens, or you do kitchens? Okay, and you do roofing, right? Roofing is pretty much, you could do one-call close all day long, probably with your eyes closed. One-call close, or you go out to the job and you're selling right there. Is that what you do?
What do you mean?
So say you get a lead, you go out to the job. Do you give them a price there on the spot, or do you go and tell them you're going to get back to them?
It all depends on the scenario, but a lot of times I like to give them, you know what I mean, the
Yep.
number right there.
So that's a one-call close.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot of guys don't do that. Maybe in roofing they do, but a lot of the other guys, they don't do that. And then, if it's so big, like a kitchen, so big, there's so many different things, they don't really have a system to be able to give pricing.
Okay.
They end up waiting weeks and weeks and weeks. And by that time, that excitement of getting a new kitchen has already gone away. So that's why I feel like what you do is kind of the way to go. At least get in range. And before I used to do all detailed estimates. I don't do that anymore. You waste all your time, and all of a sudden they're like, nah, I don't like this thing here. No, we don't do that. They're shopping around. Yep. So again, I feel like, talking to the customer, being able to get that customer on the same page with you, making sure that customer's for you and you're for them is important, because this way you could say, hey, this is my number. And they're not shopping. You go, it's either going to work or not. And I'll have different stages. Like sometimes I'll do almost like a Zoom call over the phone. They'll show me the kitchen. I've done 1 million kitchens. So they tell me what they're looking for. I'll show them a similar kitchen that looks like that. And then I'll show them the price of a kitchen I just did of another customer. They're good with it. I'll take them to their customer's house. We're done. There's nothing to talk about. There's no, hey, show me this, show me that. I don't have time for that. That's silly. You know what I mean? If you're really worried about that, go with somebody else. You're not my customer. That's kind of how I built that part of it. Now production, again, it's a workforce. That's probably the hardest thing to do, and that's where SOPs really come in when you start to build up your company. So when you start to get to that, like almost like the $5 million mark, that's where having managers start to come in And again, I was cheap, so I'm like, I don't need no manager. So I'm doing 5 million plus. I'm like, I'm tearing my hair out because I'm selling the job. I'm going out and doing the job. Sometimes I'm fixing the job. I'm running around like pretty much that wearing the all hats. That's where you have to start. It's called buying your time back, right? You got to go. What's the easiest thing that I can pretty much put somebody in that spot to do that thing so I can grow that next level, and that's what I'm doing now. Like literally. I hired someone to be the COO, in-house hire, but he was pretty much the sales guy plus. I call him sales guy plus. He could do the sales, he could do the production. He knew a little bit about, maybe not doing the work, but he's pretty smart where he knew how to get it done. So I moved that guy up, and then that allowed me time to free up to try and learn more of marketing, trying to get the marketing numbers right where they need to be, because that's important. Because again, starts here, funnels down. The more you put in the machine, the more stuff comes back out to you. You start to catch it, that's the sale. Catch the sale, then you got to get it done. Once you get it done, then you start to make more money. And then keep on doing that process over and over. Doesn't matter what business it is, that's how it works. And then again, taking that business mindset over to real estate rental properties, that's what I feel like everyone should be doing. Because you can make 100,000, 250,000, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you make, if you start doing those rentals, you start building them up. Say you buy, they're a little more now, but say 100,000 is an easy number. 100,000, your mortgage is $1,000. Right? That was my numbers back then in the day. It might be different now, but it was like if I knew it was 100,000, $1,000 a month. If I could rent it for 1,500, I'm making $500 a month.
What about most of these guys and girls in there are like handy?
Yep.
Guy like me, I can't do anything. Right? I can't.
Yep.
Is it still worth it right now in this market to do that?
So, is it worth it right now? So there's so many people doing it,
Right.
but that doesn't mean don't do it,
No,
right?
I want
Yep.
to be positive.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want to be like,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. So yeah, is it harder to find the deals? Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm
There's,
not self-sufficient. I'm not doing the work.
sure, sure. But I bet you know a couple guys. you could definitely link in with a couple guys. Oh yeah, yeah. If you don't, I mean, there's guys in here. But yeah, I feel like find the property, trying to be different, and again, like the mobile home thing. Brilliant idea.
Quote from you and then get a quote from him and then go back and forth.
That's what I would do. Oh yeah, they call it investor friendly, right? As soon as they say investor friendly, I run right out the door. I'm like, oh, not me. That's that guy over there, right? No, because I've done it, and I continue to do it because I'm like, oh my God, I'll make 70 grand, or that's what I'm thinking, gross. When I get it all done, I'm like, I made 5 grand on 70. It took me a month and a half. You know what I mean? Like that's not good. I could do the same thing on one day on a one-day bathroom. Exactly, or losing. Yeah. So you start to learn. I kept a couple of the guys only because I feel like I've done it for them for so long. And the way I work, it's a little different from, I guess, everybody else. It's like, you don't show up to my job site. I pick the material. I tell you the price. We always win. The time that we don't win, that's when you get to choose everything. But until then, I choose everything. Because, these people go on and watch HGTV, go, I want a deck in the back. No, we ain't doing that. We went there. No, I ain't doing that either. So they try and get this false idea of we're going to put all this money into it. We're going to make all this money, but it's not really there. It's not really there. Perfect example. I left on a Sunday. My phone died, right? I went to an estimate. It was down the shore. It was in Wildwood Crest. She was probably like, where did he go? Yeah. So I went to this estimate. They were a guy from the UK. He was pretty cool, and his wife, and they were in their 80s, and it was a duplex. They were renting out the bottom unit for $800 a month since 1982. The guy was 91 years old. His wife was 88. The lady upstairs was a realtor, local realtor in Wildwood. They said, hey, we want to fix the house up. I started going through my numbers. I'm like, all right, it's going to be like 40 grand for, new kitchen, bathroom, whatever. Upstairs is going to be like 40 grand. Siding's going to be like, 30 with the roof and all that fun stuff. And I said, what's your rent? We just started talking. He's like, well, I get $800 a month here, and upstairs I get 12. I said, a week or a month? She's like, a month. I said, no, your numbers are way off. You should be getting $2,400 a week, up top and bottom. That's $4,800. She goes, I can't do that. I said, he's been with me since 1982. She hadn't, and I think after talking, they realized I buy houses. They said, you want to buy our house? I said, with all due respect, I can't afford your house. Your house is very beautiful. No, if I were to give you a number, would you buy it? I said, it made sense, yeah. So they're like, how about 350? I said, 350? I'll give you. I would have gave you. I shook my head. I was like, I would have gave you 450. Like, give me 450. They're like, no, you said 350. So literally, I bought the house for 350. The agreement was the gentleman that lived on the first floor, he's 91. He was going to be allowed to stay a year. So I said, listen, you can stay the year, no problem at all. When you're done, I'm just going to fix the property up and just rent it out. I said, well, how much would it be? Well, I'm thinking $2,400 a month. But I'm like, I'm sorry, a week. I'm like, you know what? It'll be $1,700 a month. $1,700. I'm out of here. He jets. I'm like, you had a year. You just left. I'm like, that was cool. The lady upstairs is like, I'm going to use the governor's right to stay in here, but I'm still going to pay the rent. But I'm going to stay here. I'm like, all right, because it's COVID. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just turn on the radio real loud every day. I didn't do that. So what I ended up doing, I took that property. I think I put maybe $50,000 into that. So I bought the property for $350. Did I buy it for $350 or $450? $350. Put $50 into it. It was $400. Yep. I sold the first one for $500. So I waited the year after she finally found the place. I put another $50 into the next property. So now I had a total of what, $450, and I sold that one for $560. Then HGTV called, and he said, "Hey, we want to put your house on whatever it is, Wildwood, whatever, and do you want to be on it?" No, I don't want to be on there. It was Brian Reed. So if you look up Wildwoods, New Jersey, or Best of Wildwoods, New Jersey, HGTV, it's my place they picked. But she got mad because what they do, it's fake, right? They stage the house with ugly furniture. Jen's like, I would have never picked that furniture. I said, who cares? We made $500,000. I didn't make anything, but that was the other thing. So anyway, that was the other thing. My realtor put how much I made, and real quick, my accountant's like, make sure you have that down right now. So I texted the realtor, take that down. I didn't make anything close to that. And that was it. You remember that? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, it was crazy. So then, from there, building my relationship with that realtor, Brian, he said, and he just said the other day, it was pretty cool. His daughter has a disability. She's part of Ronald McDonald House. We got to do that fun stuff. They were trying to get me to dress up in, I don't know, some weird, whatever. But she dressed me up in weird stuff anyway. So, but it was a real good time. It was a real good cause. So we did the Ronald McDonald House. But he brought me into a deal where it was the Showboat Motel down 15th and Surf, 8 units. So we bought that for, I won't go into the numbers too much, but a little over $1 million cash. And then we put a decent amount of money into it, and then we sold it for a decent amount of money. And Brian's like, hey man, I made over $7.7 million from you in the last 5 years or something like that. He's like, you're the best client I've ever had. I'm like, well, I wasn't really counting. You're my friend, and I don't care, and that's what we do, right? So that was pretty cool. Then he ended up buying a house right next to mine down the shore. I'm like, wait, this guy is going to be right next to me. And I love the death, but literally he bought a house right next to me, right in Moore's Inlet, so I get to see him every day. And we do a lot of networking, so he's another good contact for you. I feel like I think it'll be good for you. But yeah, that part of it. So you got production again. You got to have the right guys. So it's hard. You're going to have some slugs in the good guys, but I feel like you get a couple good guys, and those guys are going to build good guys. You get a couple of slugs, and they're going to make other slugs, and that's how it works in life anyway. So. Yeah, sure.
A little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I keep hearing you talk about you want to be the guy climbing, you want to keep reaching and striving. You think you're wired that way, or what is it that drives you? Like, what
so the why?
Doing this for?
Yeah, the why. So, I really don't know other than different levels of success, right? Some people go, oh my God, if you have this huge house, you're a success, or you have all these cars, you're a success. Let me tell you something. When you buy all that stuff, it really isn't. Once you get it, it's like, that was cool, but not really what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Because then you want something different.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. So again, the way the way I'm wired, I'm kind of like this. I'll buy a car for, I'll tell you, I bought a car for 190. I had it for 3 years. I sold it for 210. Lambo Huracan. Bought that used. Literally the height I sold it. I had 3 of those. They were the Corvette C8. I was like one of the first ones to get it. Guy offered me 20 grand more. I said, yours, take it. Next year I ordered another one. Next one came in. Another guy does Tim T. He said, I'll give you 15 grand. I said, bring me 15 grand. We'll go right now and pick it up. So I just did this. I totally forgot about that. So I totally forgot. I like flipping cars. Watches I never did good with, always a fail. But cars and houses definitely I do well with all the time. And then I just did the Cybertruck. So I ordered like 4 years ago. I'm like, this thing ain't ever coming. It's all on video too. There's like 50,000 views. So there's a guy called George, Cybertruck George. He's got like 440,000 followers on TikTok. My buddy had a Raptor, brought it up there, traded in for a Mercedes. The guy's like the Cyber King, he calls himself. He's like, yo, my buddy has one. It was like my first day. He's like, yeah, I'll buy it from you. So I said, you're gonna buy it? Come pick it up. He goes, can you drop? First he says, can you drop it? I said, I ain't dropping off. I said, why don't you come pick it up for 4 grand? I'm not driving all the way up there to make 4 grand. So he drives down. We do like a video of my house. It's pretty cool. I'll post it on the thing so you can see it. But I give him like a little house tour. He wanted a house. He's like, yo, can I do a house tour? He's like, you guys are crazy, whatever. We had a lot of fun. But I flipped the Cybertruck. She hated it. Like it was super fast. And then I bought the Lamborghini STO. I bought that last year? 2 years ago. So I bought that at sticker price, which was like 400,000. What's that?
The minivan, you miss it?
I do. Listen, that minivan.
That minivan lasted long.
Oh my God.
To the one girl that worked
Oh
for the
yeah.
show.
And then I sold it for 1,800 when I was done. I had it for like 7 years.
I do have a question. You know, obviously I know you this whole summer, past half year, whatever, right? Always positive. Back in those minivan days,
Yep.
like, was there ever a day where like you felt like kind of down, and if you did, how did you get over it? 'Cause
So-
it's tough, man. It's
Yeah.
not easy.
So like every day's not a win, right? You always have issues come up, and some of them are big, some are small. But again, I feel like mindset, and I'm always like smiling. So you'll always see me smiling. You'll hardly ever see me like hyped up, except for I think the other week it was like a meeting. But I just got done. I just got a cold plunge. Don't get a cold plunge, you will be all hyped up all day, right? Yeah. So I put a cold plunge in my closet. After the gym, I hit the cold plunge for 5 minutes. I'm wired. I'm like laser focused. I'm running around like I'm crazy, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think staying positive through everything and not getting stressed out. You know, you can only control the things that you can control, and taking care of those things. So if you wait too long, you know, to fix something, that stress is just going to eat at you. So just do what you could do, get it done, and move on. Win or loss, right? But you got to lose to win. So if you're not willing to fail, you're not going to be successful at all. And I feel like being successful to me now is different from when I was starting out, had nothing. Being successful now is like, hey, what can I do to watch other people be successful? So with that, I did this guy's house, and he's on here too. His name's Martino Cartier. He's like a celebrity hairstylist, super nice guy, real crazy. I did his basement, like mold or whatever. I hooked him up, and then an insurance claim. I knew how to do insurance claim. I knew how to write. I wrote for public adjusters, like all their insurance claims for years. One of my best friends was an insurance adjuster. He owned the company. I would write the estimates for him. Actually, she would. Yeah, I would write the scope, and she would do it. So she's really the brains. I think the main thing with being positive is no matter what happens, as long as you wake up tomorrow, you get another chance. So I feel like if you do that every day, and you have that mindset every day, and trying to get 1% better every day, you'll have no regrets. And that's where I'm at with that part of it. Yep.
What are some of the red flags you look for?
In customers or?
Yeah, customers.
Oh my God, cats. They have a lot of cats. Maybe I should have said. Oh my God. Huh? I know. I don't care. I don't even care. Yeah. If I see a lot of cats, I get nervous. That's the first one. I got like a 3-point checklist. I'll get it over to you. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things I look for. The other thing is, if they're like, well, the other contract, he did this and that, and listen, maybe that was the case, but how they're talking about him is maybe potentially how they're going to talk about you. You know what I mean? So not every time they're wrong, so you have to feel them out. That's kind of one of the things I look for. And then the people that are like, you need to break that down. Well, why? What do I need to break down? My paint estimate. You want to know how much I pay for the paint? Go to Sherwin-Williams. Go look at there.
I also think it depends where you are in your business. Because before, back in the day, minivan days, like you took.
Oh, I took abuse.
everything.
Oh, I took abuse.
Everything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it depends where you are. We're at a point now where you can be a little more picky.
Mm-hmm.
But back then,
Yeah, I think in the beginning I would take anything, like literally a kitchen backsplash. You know, I would charge $300 and I would do it myself, and I'd be done in a day. And the guy who I did it for, he goes, "You're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it. You're not gonna make any money." But I was happy making $300 a day at that time. You know what I mean? I was cool with it. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. I like doing tile. It was cool. So
and
literally,
no overhead.
I had no overhead. I had a minivan, 2200. I could do it for 300, no problem, right? But you know, I think starting to learn from that. Oh, by the way, that guy ended up losing his business and working for us years later, and then he became a mess. He did, and we got rid of him. And then I seen him years later at the gym and came up and apologized for everything. I'm like, dude, I respected you. I felt I learned a lot of stuff from you, and I did over the years. I learned from so many different people, so many different tips, tricks. Ways to install things, ways to do it faster and better and make more money. And that's kind of another thing that, being in business for a long time, you start to see those people that aren't going to work with you. If you're getting that vibe, you'll start to get that feeling. Am I right every time? Probably almost every time. But again, that's the other thing about the no, like being able to say no to people. I do have a hard time saying no. I'm like,
But Sam, so say if you got a good buy from a customer, you got managers, right?
Yep.
Now you delegate the responsibility for someone to manage that project, and they have a falling out with the customer. So like you had a good feeling with them, you go in and correct it no matter what it is, but
yep,
how do you handle
that's a
that?
great question.
It might not have been a problem for you at the time,
Right.
but now the client and your manager's bumping.
Okay, so what you're talking about is, hey, you're the owner, right? You're the guy that's selling the job right now. That's the stage of your business where you're at right now.
Yeah.
You're handed off to your manager, who may be good with some customers, may not be as good with other customers.
Yeah, it's like
Different personality types work differently. Then you start to have to learn everybody. You have to learn how to talk different languages, right? A carpet installer, you got to talk to them different than you talk to a carpenter, different than you talk to a plumber, different than you talk to, it sounds funny, but these guys all talk a different language, right? They really do. And for you, I have the same issue. I can go in, or you can go in and you're like a charmer. Frank's a charmer. He can literally charm you. He's a good looking dude. He knows how to talk to people. He's been there, done that. He can get the job done, right? He gives it to his manager, who he trusts 100%, right?
their intentions are great.
And their intentions are great, but all of a sudden, something during that job makes the customer mad. It could be anything. Communication, deadline, right? Oh yeah, maybe coming late or not coming early enough. Some people are funny. They want what they want and how they want it. And some people can't communicate properly, not properly. I just feel like in a way that makes the customer feel warm and fuzzy. Because at the end of the day, customer relations, making sure that the customer is happy with you and your guys, and that the whole experience is a positive one. That's what keeps people coming, right? That's what people will pay for that. People will pay for the experience. Negatively, I guess, if the guys aren't able to run them properly, then you have to jump back in, like I have to do every once in a while. It's called the bottleneck. So again, I never worked for anybody before. So when I started my business, I literally learned, you're gonna laugh at this. They didn't have YouTube, right? Or internet. I want to say like my grandpa. Hey, I walked 50 miles to school and I had no shoes or I had one sock. No, it was, there was no YouTube. So I went to Home Depot. There was a book called Home Depot 1, 2, 3. I bought that book. I literally bought it. That's how I learned how to do everything, by the way, because I never worked for anybody. I used to do the work for myself. It was my first rental property, and I kind of built it up from there. But going back to you, me building my company up, I became the bottleneck, right? So any issue, I'm the firefighter. I'm jumping right in. I'm not giving that project manager the training, right, or the opportunity to fix it himself, because I want to go save the day, because that's what I've always done. So it's really hard to really pull back the reins and go, oh my God, let me let this guy handle, or let me handle it with him so that the next time we do it, he's a little bit better, right? Maybe not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
That's what I started doing.
Yep.
Like, this is how we're gonna do it.
Yep.
Frank, what I would do is your project managers is a book called Verbal Judo.
Mhm.
You know about
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
taught for 5 years too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
That, like, I've given to some of the guys, you work with like contractors, there's no patience, there's no de-escalation.
Yep.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I like, it's how to talk to people. This whole job is how you talk to people.
That's
I'm
right.
big on organic growth, so I like to give my guys that are with me the opportunity to grow with me. So I'm giving someone that was used to installing floor the opportunity to be a communicator, to be a delegator, to be a a voice rather than just being a set of hands.
Yeah, so you're at the point where you're growing, and you have to be able to have some kind of training for those guys to be able to. And listen, YouTube's awesome. YouTube's awesome.
I got books like
You-
a bunch of
I
books
think
to try.
training,
Yeah, training.
training and role playing is important when it comes to like, I mean, bring someone that you know into your office and have them talk to them.
Yeah,
And like, get on.
yeah. If you want me, I'll do like a Zoom with your guys,
Get on-
and you can do a Zoom with my guys,
I roll-
and I'll just be a dick. I know how to be a dick. I know how the customer be a dick. I'll be that customer. And you got to again diffuse the situation, right? You got to be able to go in there and go, okay, what's the problem? He forgot to take his shoes off. I'm really sorry about that, Mrs. Smith. I'll make sure that we have booties on every day going forward from this day. Is that okay? Is that gonna help you? Then we're good. Then we're good. We'll do that from now on. Hey, Bruce, listen. I know it sounds dumb.
Customer just wanna be coddled the whole
Yeah, and it's okay. You want to hold their hands. You want to hold their hands. Again, some of them never had contractors in their homes. Maybe it's the first time, maybe it's the first experience, or some had really bad experiences. So, you coming in, they try and look at you in a certain way. And I feel like in the beginning, that's how I was. I was like Sam the carpet man, right? Because all I had was carpet. I had no money, whatever. And they kind of look down on you, right? They're going to look down on you. And, you kind of build up like, yeah, I'm not that guy. But even when I had no money, I'm still not that guy. You can't talk to me like that. I don't care if you have $100 million or $10 in your pocket. We're all human. You treat everybody with dignity and everybody with respect, right? And you got to demand that respect because once they disrespect you, the game's over. So
I
if
feel like they try with the employees more. Like,
always, they'll try. It's all the time. So
this is where that usually happens at. Like, so they're going with you because they trust you.
yep,
At some point, when they feel like that trust is broken, like your guys do something or a situation happens, and it's like you got to build that trust back up from there on out.
Sure.
You got to give them that reassurance. You got to give them like a guarantee.
right. I want to tell you there's a magic pill for that, but there's not. And I want to tell you it's going to go away. It's not. It's all in how you handle it going forward. You know what I mean? And again, you guys know my books. I like to read, right? I like the E-Myth for contractors. I feel like that book is how to build systems and processes fast and then be able to get better for it. And then Traction for any business. Traction's probably the most important book that you could buy. So Traction from Gino Wickman, it tells you pretty much everything. And that goes over how to build the business up, how to start tracking your numbers, and how to build and grow. And then we actually hired the coach from Traction to come in for my team, which was pretty awesome for us. We kind of built that up.
You gotta write the books down on the way out, on the board.
Okay, yeah, definitely, yeah, yep. Any other questions or?
Oh, I was gonna say, do you feel like your time in law enforcement kind of gives you an advantage?
100%.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm in like corporate world. And
Yep.
I just see like people just can't talk to people.
Yeah,
Like all the time, and like I was like putting like literally like to fix every single Philadelphia job because like people just run it into the ground. It's like even as a cop in like Norfolk, Virginia, and like the hood.
right,
So it's like I can talk, black, white, gay,
Mhm.
men, women, ultra leftist,
Right.
ultra rightist,
Yep.
Nazi, like everyone.
Absolutely.
And I've just like noticed like, the biggest issue I even see with contractors, even some of the guys that work for me, I'm like, guys, like, just gotta be nice to these folks. Like, be respectful. Like, one of my guys, Miguel, just texted me like, hey, John, can you talk to this lady? She yelled at Manny today. I'm like, all right, I'll talk to Manny tomorrow. Manny's like one of my painting guy,
Yep.
mechanic. And I'm gonna get the information. I'm gonna talk with this lady. I'm like, hey, yell at my guys. I will walk off this job. Don't care.
yep,
He's
Oh, yeah.
3
I like
years,
that.
Good dude.
yeah,
Sweet guy.
yeah. You gotta, yeah, you gotta know that if they say, bad things about your guy, you gotta stick up for your guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Worked in my house,
Yeah.
my personal properties,
Sure,
good dudes.
Definitely.
That's like what I was wondering because the experience you get as a police officer is not for like everyone else. I remember when I came here, like everyone's like, I think they're all like ex-felons, this and that. Like, I have a lot of friends too there in construction I'd worked for when I was figuring out transitioning from law enforcement into construction. That it was just interesting to see because like a lot of felons, it's like you can't get hired.
Yeah.
America has set them up for failure, and it's like, well, now we have to learn a trade to survive.
That's right.
A lot of them become like they get their stuff squarely are very, very successful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, I feel like it's anyone. Like if you're in jail, you kind of start to build up some kind of routine, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that actually build you up. So like military, you have a routine. You have your locker. Your locker has to have the socks folded up a certain way, and everyone has to be the same. And it's got to be every drawer the same. And if you see our warehouse, I have everything numbered, and everything's the same. And I memorized everything. I'm going to make the guys memorize everything that's in that warehouse by number. So this way, you know, number 3 is the shower doors, right? And you number 6, and then I have a cart, literally the cart 4, 5, 6, 7. And something's not there, it's either missing or it better be on your chart. Then you sign off on that. So it's the same thing goes back to, you know, when you're in law enforcement, you know, you got to deal with an array of people. It could be, you know, someone that doesn't, you know, respect you, and you got to talk to them one way, and you got to earn their respect in 30 seconds, or it usually goes south. The other thing, you have to be able to de-escalate situations. You know, people want to fight. They want to, you know, yell at you. They want to curse at you. You'll go to a domestic, and you know, you grab the husband, and all of a sudden the wife's trying to jump on you, but she was the one that called in the first place. You know what I mean? All those things happen. Oh yeah, every single day. And yeah, it's great that you have that law enforcement background. I feel like it's important in building up. So.
I want to backtrack a second.
Sure.
So Frank talked about he likes the organic growth of his employees, where they're coming from the bottom and building up. Do you see restrictions in the growth of his company by having maybe the wrong people in the wrong place, getting into positions of dealing with the clients? Maybe they're handling the communication incorrectly. Like, how do you handle that if you have somebody in the wrong position? How quickly do you change?
Got it. Okay. So I feel like there's a couple different areas to go over now. Your guys, when they build up from within, that gives you a really awesome culture, because that means if I'm just starting with Frank and I'm a painter, I know one day I could possibly be a manager because Frank promoted Billy to manager who used to be a painter. So now he sees growth. Now, on the other end, sometimes hiring that high-end guy, right? That guy from another company that might be the #1 guy, and you hire him and you go, I'm gonna bring him in because he does really well there, and we're gonna bring him into us. Now he's a manager, but he doesn't fit your culture. That could be toxic. That could cost you a lot of money, a lot of time, and employees. All of a sudden, that guy who you thought was great because he was great over here isn't great for Frank. So I feel like giving those guys up the ranks, being able to build up the right guys, not everybody, and then learning their personalities. They have a DISC test. I don't know if you've heard of that. DISC assessment. You'll know if they're, you know, someone who just wants to be a manager or just wants to be, you know, a field worker. Because I have guys now that, you know, deserve to be, you know, higher than they are. And literally, I asked him, hey, are you want to grow? And he's like, no, I just want to stay where I'm at. I'm happy here.
Managing people.
Yeah. And I, you know, my head is, I always want to do better. I want to do better, but that's not everybody. If you're happy where you're at, and you're glad and you accept where you're at, and you're cool with being at that rate, then don't push somebody in somewhere where they don't want to be, if they're not going to be pushed the right way.
But what if he makes a mistake and puts someone in that position?
Okay.
How that,
Yeah, so if you put them in that position, you always got to do coaching, right? You do a review. It's real simple. ChatGPT. Hey, how do I do a performance review for a painting manager? Bam. It's going to give you all kind of stuff. Use it as a guide. Don't use it as the Bible. Use it as a guide. Build it all up, right? Take that, and every week I have a couple things I go over with Nick. I don't know Nick. It's called the perfect week, and that's like the first week. Like, hey, what would you see as a manager your perfect week? And have him write it all out. And that's not just business stuff. That's his home personal life, right? You're hanging out with the kids on the weekend, night, you know, what you do. Now you start to understand what kind of person they are and what drives them. What you talk about, the why. You start to see their why. The other thing is this. We have like a form we fill out. What did we do great this week? Like, have them self-rate themselves. And they go, hey, listen, I did really good with managing, you know, Manny and you know, the other guys. I didn't do so well with talking to the customer. So I think maybe next week, I'm going to try talking to the customer every single day with a text or a phone call. Or maybe at the end of the day, say, hey, listen, when you get home from work, just shoot me a text. Everything's good, or we had some issues. Just say what they are. Because again, you know, we're working all day. We go home at night. You don't want that 7 o'clock call going, I just got home. I don't like that. Don't do that. So you say, hey, listen, set that right from the start. Hey, if you don't like something, no problem at all. When I come the next morning, shoot me a text at night. Hey, look, I just had a couple things I want to go over with you. But don't make me get to the point where now I can't go to sleep because I'm thinking, oh my God, this job's messed up. I got to do this, and half the time it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? It's all like, yeah, everything's fixable. So for you to come home at 7 o'clock, where I worked all day at your home, and then you start complaining about something that I could fix tomorrow, give me tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or give your manager tomorrow, and let them. Because I had one customer was 2 o'clock in the morning, texting one of my project managers, and he's such a nice guy, he was letting it slide. I said, do not. I will not let you do that. Do not respond to these people. You know what I mean? You talk to them when you're there. Normal business hours. Like, that's your hours of work. Let your private time be your private time. Now, for me, private time is like none. None. I'm like a 7-day-a-week animal. So I'm definitely the opposite of the rule. Like, literally, I'll all day, I'm thinking, okay, if I buy this, I could sell it for that. Or, hey, if I do this, I could do that. Hey, you got a sale, I'm running to it.
You're the owner, so the employees need their time.
Yeah.
Off that.
Not everybody. I mean, Mike, he's a hustler too. He's run like nonstop too. But not everybody wants to do what you want, right? Not everybody's goals align. And even though in the beginning I thought that's what everyone wanted, I realized just for my brother that, that's not, my brother can take $5 and he'll be fine for a month. You know what I mean? I was the guy, I got the $5 from my dad, I hit it right in the quarters, and we're in Wildwood playing video games, and I'm done in like 2 minutes. I'm like, hey, can I borrow a quarter? But, again, people are different. So,
I got another question.
yep.
So I'm kind of in the same thing you do with the flipping houses and buying houses. Do your businesses intertwine, or do you keep them separate with the flipping houses, and then do you put your crew
So
in there?
money-wise, do we have it together? I don't even know.
When we purchased the house, it's our personal.
No.
That's what I was just saying.
Answer's no. Yep. So, yeah.
Does the work.
Okay.
Yes, the showcase does the work.
Yeah. So,
Show your guys do the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll like put it on your like you got all your customers scheduled out, and then you got showcases and stuff scheduled in later.
We have like flipper guys though.
yeah, I kind of rate the guys. So, A guys go in people's houses. B guys go in people's houses with A guys.
Yeah.
C guys go in flip houses only.
Yeah.
B guys are the top guys in the flip houses. D guys go with B guys only in the flips. Kind of rank them all the way down, right? And this way, because the other most important thing too is the job site being clean, right? So if it's your flip, you get away with a little bit of trash. If it's a customer's house, that thing better be swept up. You know what I mean? That trash better be out of there. And that's why we had a meeting about it the other day. That's why I was all worked up. If you're doing demo and there's trash, bring our dump truck. Get a dumpster, bag it up, put it on the side of the house. What I don't want is a customer going, hey, there's trash in my house for a week. So where was the project manager at for a week? And then he wants to bring a dump truck out and it's 4 bags of trash, but he has a pickup truck. No, I had none of this stuff. I'd throw it right in my car, right in my back of my minivan. I empty that thing out, boom, there it is, $2,200, bam, done. And I wouldn't even put it in the dumpster. I put it out in my trash. The trash guy was my friend. I text him, hey, $50. He'd come wherever I want. Don't do that. Yeah, I think that kind of answers that part of it.
What do you do for like personal development, coaching over the years? When did you start that stuff?
So it was really funny. So I did, I think, my first podcast, which I don't even know what a podcast was, with a guy who's awesome, Tom Reber, which you know. He was on HGTV. He has a big community of contractors.
Is that the contracting coach?
Yeah, Contractor Fight.
Yeah, contracting.
Yeah, so he's awesome. So one day he wrote me on Facebook, and he goes, hey, man, I've been following your stuff on Facebook. You do a lot of crazy shit. He's like, what do you do? I said, I got 48 rental properties. I got, showcase remodeling. We do a lot of flips. I started going to everything we do, and I started showing what I was doing that night. I was like designing out my basement, drawing, and he's like, I'd love to have you on the podcast. I'm like, cool. So I thought that was like YouTube, right? I didn't even know there was like an actual podcast thing. So I did it with him, and he videoed it. So I'm waiting for on YouTube. All of a sudden, I get somebody from like California. Like, hey, man, I was just inspired. I just watched your podcast. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm on YouTube, Google. I'm like, nothing. So I'm like, hey, can you send me the thing? I didn't even know how to open it. So I had to call her. And I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. Next day, 10 people. Next day, 15 people. Next thing, my whole Facebook was like flooded with all these people from this one podcast, which I thought was cool. And then, from there, I flew out to Denver to see him maybe a month or two ago. He had like a big event. Yeah. And then like everyone's waiting to like talk to me there. So I'm like, I don't even know how you know. Oh, I saw you on the podcast. And I didn't realize how much power social media has, good or bad, right? You get a lot of good messages out, and you got a lot of bad messages out. But I feel like, doing that kind of got me on the thing of, hey, social media may work. Brian does a ton of awesome content, which is great, and it boosts him up. I kind of helped one lady, red flagger. I don't think she had cats. I'm pretty sure she didn't have cats. She had a cleaning company. I'll never forget the story. And she might be on here, but I don't care. Jen didn't like her anyway. So she's like, I don't like that girl, blah, 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 blah.
Couldn't spot it all.
Yeah. So I'm like, whatever. So she wanted me to flip her house. I said, listen, I already know I'm not for you and you're not for me. She's like, what do I got to do?
Nice to me.
No, she wasn't nice to you?
No, when I worked at the daycare.
She worked at it. See that? That's the other thing. Being nice to people, whether you're, yeah. So I guess, yeah, so she used to work with a daycare, and the lady would pick up her kids from the daycare, treat her like crap. This is way before me. Again, being nice to people pays dividends. I don't care if you're the guy mopping the floor or the CEO, treat everybody the same, right? So you treat everybody the same, you never know where they're gonna come back around. The guy that was the mopper for one of the biggest companies in Philly that does all property management is now pretty much the CFO. So I get anything I want out of those jobs whenever I want. Because we became close because I came in, another contractor came in, he was like pretty much tied in. He said something like, you missed the spot, and being like a real jerk to the guy. I said, oh God, who's that? He goes, oh, he's always like that. I don't even care. And I was super nice to him, hit it off, I gave him a number, whatever. Here he gets promoted. Now he's like the big guy. So whatever I need, I literally say, hey, you got anything like this? Yep, I got however many decks. You want to bid them? Yep, want to bid them. Get the job almost every time. So you never know. But yeah, this lady, I'm like, I already know me and you just don't get along. I don't want to do this. And we'll be married to each other, whatever. So she's like, what do I got to do? I said, write me a check for $5,000 and I'll show you how to do it. So, and this was like 10 years ago, maybe, 7 years ago. So she literally comes in, writes me a check for $5,000. I said, all right, here's your 42-point checklist. I'm going to take you to the house. I'm going to go over the whole thing and walk you through it. You're going to hire whoever you want. I'm going to tell you if they're good or not right off the bat, and we'll get it done. So literally, she got it done. She bought all the materials through us. I made money. She made money, and she started doing well with it. So, good for her. But again, I think that was when I first did it. And then just for a couple of the guys around like that contractor fight to ask me questions, I don't charge. I feel like it's my way of giving back to what I've done. Because again, when you start this thing, it's a big thing. It's not for everybody. Business can be ugly sometimes, and getting through it and having questions. I had every question. You don't really have a lot of people to go to. So when you have someone good, I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm okay. But you basically, someone wants to ask me something, I'll tell you what it is.
Every time I hit you up, you always give me the answer.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah, sure.
So back to like the clients and the red flaggers, the cats. So
Yep.
like I was I was talking to Trav in the back. So basically like rebranding my business. I'm trying to like I had Frank come over, job or get me like a new software CRM, and you know what I mean, like
Yep.
Bri with the marketing, like
Nice.
trucks rewrapped, and so like I'm trying to get out of the city, right?
Yep.
And like even like Mike, I hit Mike up because I seen them flyers they got mailed to me
Yeah.
in my mailbox, and
Yep.
I seen the Showtime in there, and then I seen him posted it,
Mm-hmm.
and literally like I literally want to pick his brain, like how you like generating leads over here,
Absolutely. So you live over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be all over there. I could definitely connect you in like with the town. Like the football team is really good to get in with because the chief.
High school?
Yeah,
Yeah, my kid just graduated.
really,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, we became. I became the chief over there. We donate to them, and they need stuff. Get involved. Martino, that 122 Salina Road. I'll take you over there. You have to meet him. He does a lot for the community. A lot with people with cancer. So I'm on the board there now. Any woman that has cancer and losing her hair, they get a free wig. You know what I mean? And it's pretty cool because, the one girl, Michelle, I guess you grew up with. It's funny how like everybody knows everybody through other people, right? So Michelle was like, oh, I got a wig, Berlin Mart or something. I looked at it, it looked horrible, right? So I wrote her, I said, go here, get a wig. You know what I mean? And she got it. She was super happy. She's crying. It was awesome. It was a great experience. She went to the Wigs and Wishes, which they have like a gala every year. I volunteer there. And again, like I'm one of those people that military, I have to take control. So already the first year, I changed everyone's spot where they sit. I'm like, you got to go through me before you get there. And we made the most money that year ever. And they wanted me to do it. The next year, I said, look, my feet were black and blue. I was running like a madman, trying to make sure everything was running smooth. But I think for you, Today's Shopper would definitely be a way to go, just to get in the community. I think you got to get networked into the community too. But I'll hook you up with that. I'll get you in that for sure. And then you got to come to my office. My office is right in Washington Township. We have like a little training center there. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, man, roofers. I mean, you'll kill it over there. You'll kill it.
I'll be in Today's Shopper before Ernie.
Yeah, you're already in there.
Yeah.
I already saw you. You just came.
I didn't say it.
Oh, you already came in.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just send me a copy, Ernie.
What's that?
The paper. You don't get it to your house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me a picture of it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He has a two. Listen, everybody got the little ass. He got the 2 page. That's something red flag right there.
Go big or go home.
He had the 2 page. spread on
That's
there.
it. That's it. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. And then again, branding. They say you see your name 3 times. As soon as I saw Pace Roofing, I already know where the sign's at. The sign is right by our house on Spruce, the main road there as you come in by the light by the Wawa. So if you pass the Wawa on the right, you look on the left, you have a big sign there, Pace Roofing.
Sure, like I did.
You didn't even know you had it, did you? Yeah, you're right there.
Probably my kid, dude. He
Really?
pays me for money. I'm like, take flyers, take
Yeah.
door hangers.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was just throwing them down the sewer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we gotta get in Washington Township.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Now, you mentioned about like the slugs, turning other people into slugs.
Yep.
And then, in the past now, how did you deal with turnover? I know you mentioned you got rid of your brother. I actually kind of just went through the same thing.
Yep.
Felt terrible about it, but for my business, it was what was best for my business.
Right.
So, how do you deal with like the turnover? Making sure that, because at the end of the day, I look at it as like it's my fault. Like I need to train them, put them in the right position.
Sure.
If I feel like a guy's toxic, I gotta act that quickly
Mhm.
instead of letting it go on just because I need him to get stuff done.
Right.
So how do you kind of deal with the turnover when you first started and now?
So I feel like again, you being accountable for yourself is like that's where it's at. It's good. That's where you have to be. Because again, you're hiring them. You're expecting them to do something. It's not working out. So you gotta go, okay, either I didn't train him right, or he just wasn't the right person. Right? It's one of the two. Being able to be on the job, and right now, like I'm so busy. I don't want to say so busy. What I'm focused on now is making sure that the culture is where it needs to be, and that we're bringing in the right people, retaining the right people. So if you know someone's already doing good for you in whatever kitchen remodeling, and you're seeing them do good, well, guess what? Pair him with somebody because you trust that person because they're doing a good job for you. Put him with somebody else, and say, hey, at the end of the day, give me a rating. He's good, he's not. You know what I mean? Is this somebody you want to work with every day, or it's not? And those guys will self-police every single time. And then all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, that's it. That's it. You go into jail, you get a tree jumper, right? A tree jumper's like a child molester. Everyone they had their own block. You know what I mean? It was D block, and they're all in protective custody, right? Until they're not. But yeah, and that's kind of what I do with that. And then trying to get the talents hard. Usually, good people bring in good people. Crappy people are going to bring in crappy people. Spend your time talking to good people. You're going to start getting good people. Start to talk to people that are negative. Fortunately, become negative, right? So I try and put myself all around positive people all the time. So.
Just before we close, like 2 things that I think we could wrap it up with, and one is you can't leave until you tell us where you see yourself in 5, 10. Like your grand vision.
Sure.
What do you want to turn Showcase into? Do you want to sell it? What does that look like? And then for everybody in here, do they have access to you? Like, what does that look like? Is that a Facebook message? Like, hey, Sam,
Sure.
that checklist you were telling us about.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a real thing?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. First thing is the Instagram or Facebook. I'm kind of maxed out. My Facebook friends, I have 5,000. Whatever reason, can't go over that. But feel free to hit me up on there. Or
LinkedIn, you'll accept you on LinkedIn.
yeah, LinkedIn. Yep, LinkedIn, and then Instagram. So Instagram, I just started my own personal Instagram account. I didn't want to do it because I didn't know how to use it, but I had no choice. I'm like, it's Facebook or Instagram. Let me just start this thing. So I just started my Instagram maybe like a month ago or so. Get a good response out of it. It's Sam DeMaio. So it's SAM.
See if you make that down.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Oh yeah, right on the board. Sam, yeah, DeMaio, DEMAIO. And then whatever you want, especially I'll shoot it over
The
to you.
underrated stuff down too.
Yeah, What was the other thing about the?
What's your
So my plans in the future. My plans in the future obviously have to do with. I don't want to sell. Number one, I would keep everything. I try to keep every house. She makes me sell some of the houses. So every time I do a house, I'm like, I want to keep this. I'm going to rent it. I want to rent it. She's like, no, we need to sell it so we have more money to buy other. Because again, we buy our houses cash. So literally, if we don't have the cash, we just don't buy it. That was our whole system. That was her system, kind of my system, and we built that up from nothing, from 30 grand. And we have a nice portfolio now of properties. So I feel like keeping that up. I want to be able to build my divisions up. I want to be able to take those guys that are running those divisions, let them be successful, and that's going to be my success. So I feel successful if I can make other people successful, and I do like helping other people. So I like people, like Wigs and Wishes. I think it's awesome to give back to those people. Watching those people be happy, that's priceless to me.
Yeah. How about like a short term, something this year you want, whether it's a car or.
So I want nothing. I literally have everything I want. I literally have it. You name it, I have it. I'm not bragging. I could care less about that. My most important thing right now is having my bathroom division running smooth and being in a position for January to succeed. I'm not trying to put any pressure on anybody in here, but no, he's working hard. Once we get that system down, I already know it's just going to take off like a rocket ship. So, getting that system down, and we did. We finally nailed the warehouse, only because, again, I took the summertime. I'm in Wildwood, right? Thursday to Monday, I'm not home. I could care less. I was just blowing the money and letting the guys do what they want to do without training them. Well, I'm still working. I'll be at the gym. I'm working, cutting deals. You know what I mean? But I came back. I'm like, ooh, I don't like this. What's going on here? You know what I mean? I have jobs back when I left in June are still not where they need to be. And, you start cleaning that stuff up and you go, this ain't happening never again. So build it so strong that it keeps on building for yourself. And that's kind of where my goal is now.
Well, I'd just like to say that, we absolutely appreciate and honor you coming out here and spending your time with us. And I want to acknowledge the humility and you being humble, but just want to, make it a point that you can't start a business and get to the point where you're at being, I think you said dumb or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
would, consider you a smart individual, and the rest of us and us, putting this together, appreciate you coming out here, spending your night with us, and just bringing value to this room.
For sure.
How about a round of applause for Sam?
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yep, and definitely.